following is brought to you in part by MFC Studios. The views of the show's host and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management, owners, or staff of this radio station. And now, it came from the radio.
Yapalatoy, and welcome once again to It Came From the Radio, the official show of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking. We are here live on tape at the East Mills Public Library for our 13th live show in front of the studio audience.
Yeah! Woo!
Lucky number 13, yes.
I am here with our senior correspondent, Charlie Saladino.
Hello, fun seekers.
Hello, brother!
We have our special co-host with us today. It is Herman Shemp Sinertia. He was one of the original co-hosts on the show many years ago, so he decided to come down and say hi. So let's say hi here.
How you doing, everybody? Yeah! Woo! All right? All right! Yeah.
And we have our special guest who we're going to be talking to, with, and about, which is good because he's right here. We have Kyle Horn. Say hi, Kyle.
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, right! Yeah!
Well, before we go into that, actually, he actually has another guest, but she's on her way. Hopefully she'll make it here before the show's over. Yeah. But that was Linda Waller-Taylor, so she should be here soon. Right. But first we're going to take away with the news.
What are you going away with the news?
The news is brought to you in part by the fine folks of the Big Apple Con, which we are the official radio show of, celebrating over 20 years of comic book stuff and pop culture news. For more information, go to www.bigapplecc.com. And the next convention will be on March 9th and 10th of 2019. And also Comic Bar Con, hosted by Fat Guy Inc., which is essentially a comic book convention in a local bar in Long Island. And that will be on February 2nd, 2019. For more information, go to www.fatguyinc.com / I think it's a Comic Bar Con. Find out more information on that. And we also have the shout-outs for our Patreon. So people who support our show by giving us $1, just for $1, get a holler for $1 every week. We have Danny Grillo, Jared Burrell, 2 Sentence Horror, Ryan McDonald, Bree Nicholas, Millie Fortes, and Juan Suarez from Conviction Comics. So if you want to have your shout-out, so just $1 a month, go to www.patreon.com and look up It Came From Radio in the search bar. Also, on the Patreon, if you decide to spend more than just one measly $1 a month, we have prints, we have stickers, a couple other things, but our other co-host, Dominic Bedrock Sperano, is not here, but for just a measly $10,000.
$10,000, pocket change.
You can have an evening with Dominic Sperano. You can get flown in, you get a hotel, he takes you to all, if you're 18 and over,
yes.
He takes you all to all the local bars, the best bars in the city, best comic book shops in the city. You get some Pronto comics. You get to be on the show. A whole bunch of stuff for just a measly $10,000.
And remember, we'll fly you in for this event. If you live here, we'll fly you out and then fly you back in.
Yeah, that'd be great. So make sure you guys, if you guys do have $10,000, make sure you do that. If not, we'll just take $1 and you get a shout out every week on our show. So let's see, we have a very limited news because those of you who were listening last week, I had some car problems and I had to deal with the New York Comic Con, so I didn't have time to go through the news. So it's my bare minimum news for today. So let's see. We have, from the That Will Show Them department. Just moments after the painting Girl with the Balloon was auctioned off for $1.4 million with an M to an undisclosed bidder in London, the artwork appeared to self-destruct. It turns out that the canvas had a paper shredder built into it.
Oh, I see that.
And as soon as it was sold, it activated it and it shredded the artwork down the frame. So I don't know how that works.
Half of it.
No, it was like almost all of it, like three quarters. Three quarters was shredded all the way down.
It's science.
Now I did do a little bit of research, which is funny because it's no follow-up news. But there have been people saying that was a gimmick, that it was a gimmick frame, like the magicians use when they shred stuff. So it may not have actually been shredded. But if you do look online, you go online, look up a girl in a balloon, and you can see it actually go right through the machine. You can see behind the scenes of how the guy made the frame and the shredder. So I'm not sure how that works out. If like you already paid for it, and then it gets shredded after it gets paid for. So how does that work?
$50 extra for the glow.
Yeah. Well, we have a studio audience, so let's ask them. How does that happen?
If you paid for a piece of artwork and then got shredded, would you still pay for it?
Oh, hell no.
I wouldn't pay that for anything in the first place.
Hostile crowd.
If it's cheap,
Depends on the
it would
artist.
be a problem.
All right, so if you sold a piece of artwork, Kyle, and then you decided to shred said piece of artwork, do you still want your money?
Depends if I'm famous enough.
All right. All right, that's fair enough, fair enough. All right, so moving along to, I didn't have time to do this one. From the she's probably in jail somewhere department. For those of you who were paying attention on our last live show, we mentioned actress Fang Bingbing, who's most famous for being Blink in the X-Men Days of Future Past movie, had not been publicly seen for 3 months. And it has been reported because she had owed back taxes of $130 million for misreporting how much money she earned on various projects in recent years. If she pays the money back by an unspecified deadline, she will not be held criminally accountable, the report claimed.
Wow. She needs to get one of those lawyers they advertise on TV. If you owe more than $10,000, we can help you.
It's a lot more than 10,000.
Yeah.
So the thing is that she has not been seen or heard, and she's like China's #1 actress, and she just disappeared off the face of the earth. So the reports have been that she's kind of in jail or in hiding somewhere from the $130 million. But now reports released from China says that she was released from a quote-unquote residential surveillance at a designated location.
Jail.
2 weeks ago, which when by the time this airs, about a month, and returned to Beijing, and the tax authorities are wrapping up their investigation. But she has still, as of this recording, which is October 10th, she's not been seen or heard or anything. So who knows what's going on with that? But I guess the moral of the story is don't owe the Chinese government $130 million.
Chinese mafia.
I actually heard that in China it's different. Sorry about that. I heard over in China that when it comes to like celebrities, movie stars, they can only make a certain amount of money per picture.
Correct.
Certain things. So maybe it's related to that.
Well, so apparently what's been called is called yin-yang contracts, which is you say you have different contracts for the same movie. So therefore, you're not making as much money because each contract is separate. So you're not totaling per contract, but in total, it's more than what they're supposed to make. So that is correct. And then she just disappeared because she owes.
Wasn't Bruce Lee in trouble with the Chinese mafia? I know he was.
Was he?
Yes, he was. He made a lot of money and he owed money to the Chinese mafia. They got him the start.
Right. And
There's a lot of controversy. You watch the movie.
And
There's a
then
movie of him made in the 80s.
not that new one with the
No.
the one that
He was involved with the Chinese mafia.
the movie about what was it? A movie about Bruce Lee that focuses on the photographer, the white guy,
Right.
in his movie.
Right.
Not that one. You mean the original, the old one?
The old one in the 80s.
So yeah, hopefully she's all right. Hopefully she'll be able to pay that money back. I mean, realistically, she's #1 celebrity in China. She should have $130 million. Logically speaking, right?
I hope so.
If not, lawyer.
If not, get a lawyer. All right.
Lawyer up.
All right. So finally, last bit of news before we take our commercial break. For those of you, once again, for those of you who weren't paying attention, we mentioned a couple weeks ago about how Batman has shown his little Dick Grayson on the comics.
Oh my God.
And it was for their Black Label line of mature comic books. And the backlash from that was extremely crazy. So much so that it overshadowed the actual story of what was going on.
Wasn't that little?
And
They wear a mask.
And what happened was that once the backlash happened, all copies showing Batman's Batman was digitally replaced. Online, it was changed, and they said they would never sell the original copy. So not only does that make it more expensive and more sought after.
You talk about a collectible issue.
What?
So
A copy.
so now.
Why would they do that anyway?
Well, it's a mature label, for mature audiences, so they just show mature stuff, just like.
I don't think there's any need for that. I don't think you have your comic books, you gotta get into that. That's ridiculous. Stop it.
They're fishing for ideas and they're just fishing.
Stop it. Now.
Well, depending on the label, you can go more mature, and it's, it makes a lot more sense, but I guess.
Well, did you think it was necessary for them to do that just for shock value? Because realistically, it didn't advance the story, didn't do anything. But then again, they do that with women all the time.
Well, listen, superheroes are supposed to be more moral, look up to, classy, and today's world, everything's just going out the window.
Where have you been?
No, I'm just saying.
It hasn't been classy since the 90s.
Well, they should go back to classiness. So notice they're playing all the old songs in the superhero movies, like the 60s, like Guardians of the Galaxy, because comic books came out in the 60s, Marvel comics. So they're trying to reminiscence to when you read the comic book, those songs were on the radio. They're uncalled for.
Yes, if you want to make a mature comic book, why do you have to drag Batman in it? Create your own characters. Go, why?
I guess if it's like on underwear and stuff like that, you have bat signal or things like that, it should be R-rated.
Alright, I'm not gonna. So the thing is about that story is that Dan Didio, who is the editor-in-chief of DC Comics, made an apology, and he said that they should not have done that in the first place. They wish it never happened because, once again, as I said, it took away from, and he said, because it really took the attention away from what we thought was quality storytelling, and that's not the way we see this imprint. As a matter of fact, we're excited by all the books we have under the Black Label, and it's an important line for us. So much so that we're actually repositioning some of our older material that has the same tonality and bringing it in and reprinting it under the Black Label name. So, yeah, they are backtracking like nobody's business because of a backlash of Batman's Batman. So that's it for the news.
Thank God.
So we are going to take our break.
Who died? Oh.
Nobody died. Well, I'm sure somebody died, but we didn't report it. So we're going to take our break, and we will be right back with a king.
We promise.
Yay!
Hi, you've heard my voice open and close the show. Now we want to hear your voice. If you have a business or product, you can record a commercial here. We offer 30 and 60-second spots. For more information, contact Mark at mfc_studios@hotmail.com.
Hello everyone, this is Envoy Comic Distributors, the independent distributor for independent minds. We represent some of the finest small press and self-publishers out there today. To learn more about us and our publishers, search for Envoy Comic Distributors on Facebook. And shop for us online at envoy.storenvy.com. That's envoy.storenvy.com. Have a great day.
Hey, I'm Mike Kingston, the writer and creator of Headlocked.
And I am WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, and guess what you're listening to? You're listening to It Came from the Radio!
Hey guys, want to impress everyone at your next next party, shop them all with a custom cake. Anything goes. Classic wedding cakes to wild party themes. Follow my social media for weekly videos and photos. We're a Long Island-based cake shop. Custom Cakes by Christie Incorporated. Kristy. Call or text anytime. 631-606-8166.
Hi, this is Amy Jo Johnson, writer-director from the film The Space Between, and you're listening to It Came From the Radio.
Now, back to our show.
And we're back with the show. I'm
Where
organized.
are you going with that?
Well, because I forgot my speakers.
Scared this guy to death.
So we're back in front of our live studio audience.
Yeah! There's going to be a test on this tomorrow.
For our 13th live show. And we have our very special guest, Kyle. So Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what's going on with all this stuff? Because not only do you have some super cool art, you have some books that you and your partner, who's still not here yet.
Yeah.
You know what, before you do that, tell us a lot about yourself. We got time. Go on.
Well, I'm 30 years old. I'm an illustrator. I've been living on Long Island for about 20 years now. And pretty much these new projects that I'm working on are a children's book called Amazing Annabelle. It's for 2nd to 3rd grade. It's very educational. It's written by a teacher. It has a lot of Common Core lesson plans within the book. Center around Annabelle and her adventures through the course of a school year, with each book focusing around a different month from September through July. But I'm also working on my own personal comic book that's based around a health condition that I'm dealing with called ulcerative colitis. So basically it's about a boy, it's called Beyond the Condition, and it's basically about a boy going through a journey to learn that through courage and empathy, learning that he's more than just a condition. And basically it deals with certain aspects, either both dealing with the financial dealings with the condition or dealing with people that are judging me for the condition and stuff, or thinking that I can't do much. So I'm hoping that I can reach a lot of audience that are either disabled or dealing with difficult times in their lives.
All right, so let's take up both parts. So first, let's talk about the book. How did you meet up with Linda?
Oh, well, I knew Linda for about 25 years. I knew her since I was like a really young kid because I was part of a group called the Mothers Club of Wheatley Heights, and I knew her from there. And pretty much as soon as she found out that I started doing illustrations and stuff, she brought me on board to help run this book and help with the company.
And now the second part is, let us know what exactly is the condition and what is the symptoms and what is the treatment for it.
Ulcerative colitis is a digestive condition. If you know Crohn's disease, it's very similar, but with colitis, they can actually remove the intestines to get rid of that's what they consider the cure for the problem in this modern day. But pretty much with treatment, it's just taking certain medications. A lot of them can be very expensive by nature, and just either eating certain healthy foods or avoiding. They also think stress could be affecting the condition, but it's not proven. But for right now, it's lifelong and stuff like that. And there's no cure besides just removing the intestines.
Wow, so you decided because of that situation to tell other people who have the same thing to inspire them. So what inspired you to do that?
Well, I have a very support system, a very good support system. Both my mother and family and stuff, they're always been there for me, and especially with helping to afford these medications that I need. And then I also have my friends and a lot of good associates from like volunteer groups that I do. But pretty much what inspired me to do this was every time I would go to CVS or Walmart and hear over the counter like, oh, you know how much this is going to cost and stuff like that. For like over 10 plus years, it really did affect me. And then also dealing with certain individuals over the course of that time frame that would see my condition and stuff and then define me by that. So like examples are like going for a job and stuff like that, or even things like dating or stuff like that, which are difficult aspects, especially nowadays on their own, but then you add in a lifelong condition and you have to either shop around for insurance or you have to explain this to someone and stuff, and if they find it a detriment or something like that, it can be very difficult to, or, it can make it even harder for those aspects, but it led me to realize that I could help with my art and stuff and use my talent towards helping some other people, especially since I found a lot of people that are dealing with this. I actually talked to a mother that has an autistic son that's like 40 years old, and I asked her about like her son and stuff like that. She said like how he was trying to date, but it's very difficult. It could be like on the other side of the universe and stuff for him. And I'm hoping to reach people that are either dealing with that autism or in a wheelchair or have like assistance from the government and feel down or self-doubt about themselves by, either dealing with certain individuals that talk down to them or look at them in a bad way. I'm hoping to reach a lot of audience through this.
Wow, I'm actually blown away. That's really cool.
Yeah.
No, voice in the audience. We get some applause. That's kind of cool.
Can I answer your question?
Yeah.
You said sometimes it comes from stress. Now, when you draw, are you calm?
Yes, I'm normally very calm.
Sometimes when people say they get nervous, their stomach turns. I'm sorry, their stomach turns. Right?
Yes.
So that's like a therapy for you when you draw, right?
Yes.
And you don't have those symptoms when you draw because your mind is on something else.
Exactly. Like if I have a project.
Did you write that in your book too?
Yes.
Let him answer the question.
Yes, right on. I wrote it in this first issue of the book. I'm hoping to release about 3 volumes of the book, each with 5 issues each, tackling 3 different subjects.
I'm going to ask you another question now. What age are you? How old are you now?
I'm 30 years old.
All right. Most people in their 30s right now, I see, because I'm almost 60, so I've been through a lot. And I'm not saying you didn't been through a lot. You've been through. You have a torch, But most people in their 30s, because I have kids in their 30s, I have 2 daughters, and they're very stressed out and they're worrying about things that maybe never come to be. Now, what is everybody worried about? What is there to worry about?
Pay bills.
Well, that's been made, but I think society is doing something to the young crowd today, and you fall into their hands. And you live it like a dog. You gotta live like a dog. Live in the moment, because you don't know if tomorrow's gonna come.
Exactly.
All right. So, I think you cure yourself instead of making these. I know you get your medication and all that stuff, but your intestines flare up when you get stressed out. Right? Now the medicine is putting a mask over it. It's not curing it.
Exactly.
And the doctors are making a bundle of everybody that's stressed out. All right, that's all I'll tell you. I'm on your side, but I'm on the doctor's side.
No, I understand.
But now you got to look at life a different way than what I just told you. It's a big business, medical, big scam, And when you see commercials on TV, it's always corporate commercials. It's always medical commercials, car insurance. It's corporate greed. They put a scare tactic on people. Don't start, Mark. And you know I'm right, folks, right?
Conspiracy.
Right? You know I'm right? Scare tactics?
Yeah.
That's a brainwash.
Yeah.
That's a Clockwork Orange. Okay? So you remember what the media is trying to do. Now I'm trying to
the media.
I know we are the media, but we could be an offshoot of the media.
Yeah.
Okay? But your kids are 30 years old, you got nothing to worry about. Because when the media hits, I'm not going to kid. You have nothing to worry about.
I knew that was going somewhere.
Live your life. Because when me and Charlie, when we were 30, we didn't care about, excuse my French.
No.
But you know what I mean? There's nothing to worry about. I know your peers put stress on you. Don't worry about your peers. You gotta be your own people, your own person. You gotta be a wolf, a leader, not a follower.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I have friends, some of them live at home and stuff, and usually by now, like when you're 30, 31 and stuff, the tradition is to leave home. And I tell them, like, if your parents are comfortable with you living at home and you can save up money towards your goals or getting that college degree and stuff, why wouldn't you take up that offer and stuff for right now? Things it's not putting you down and things that you're living at home at this age and stuff. You actually have goals in mind you're trying to accomplish, and that's the most important thing.
Oh yeah, Kyle, you're gonna be fine.
Thank you.
You are gonna be fine. As you get older, you'll see. You'll remember me.
Yeah.
What I said. As you get older, you'll outgrow a lot of this stuff, and you'll say, "What the hell was I worrying about when I was in my 30s?"
Exactly.
So you'll be fine. Just move forward. Don't look back.
Yeah.
All I know, Pop, is I'm very stressed out now, right? I was fine when I came in. Thank you so much. Now I'm like,
What are we worried about?
So can you target that book to different age groups?
So, question
Somebody
for you,
younger?
is the book specifically targeted to youngers, or is it all ages?
I'm hoping with my comic book to make it all ages and like sort of as a sample guide. I already been talking to people at the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation about hopefully getting this book, like either having a booth at the walks that I go to every year and hopefully putting it out there, especially with the support group. They've been very helpful for me out in Stony Brook.
Now, is everything in the book like a personal experience, or you use other experiences also and merge it into to make it one story?
Well, I didn't want to preach like colitis. I wanted to try and take the lessons that I learned. Like, pretty much one lesson I learned was to be courage and think ahead and stuff before acting and things like that. So I take that and like put that in the story as like a creature and stuff like that, like this fear overcoming me that I can't do something and things. But I try not to like just preach out that. I do mention colitis and I do go over some of the symptoms. Like sometimes my stomach would hurt at different intervals and things like that. I say I need my medicine and I put that in, but I wouldn't just keep hitting you over the head with like, oh, colitis is this or colitis is that. It's pretty much the main character has the condition and stuff and just overcoming some of the challenges that are associated with it.
Now, we are very well aware, as Charlie and I, and even Herman, have spoken to many, many independent creators, and a lot of superheroes, and comics in it of itself is just a medium where you can tell any type of story. So is this more of a comedic thing? Is it more like dead serious? Is it what kind of a tonality story we have going on here?
Well, it's more, I would say more comedic. Like, I could have went full-blown superheroes and things like that, but I wanted to take it in sort of a different turn. So he starts out in school, but then gets transported to this different land and stuff like that to go on this quest to handle these three different things, one being courage, another one being empathy, and then another one being understanding, as he reaches the last issue 5 of the first volume.
That's really cool. So let's switch gears back to the other book, Linda, who's still not here. I think she's stuck in traffic somewhere.
Probably that.
You know, by the time she gets here, this show would have already aired. That's how long it's going to be for her to get here. So, when you said she was a teacher, right?
Yes, she's still a teacher.
She's still a teacher, and so I'm sure she's told you how she decided to come out with this and how she was inspired to do this. So why don't you tell us a little about that in her steed? You don't have to use her voice.
Okay. Well, with her, for many years she wrote plays and she would perform them at the church that she currently goes to, which is the Hollywood Baptist Church, and pretty much she works there also and things. But over the years she had these ideas for these books, and when I first talked to her about possibly doing these children's books, she had like a whole list for all 11 books all written out and everything was ready to go and stuff. She was just looking for an illustrator.
Nice.
And pretty much she wanted to become her own publishing company, so she saved up a whole bunch of money to make that happen and stuff. And it wasn't an easy process, but she wanted to make sure that she got this done on her own and stuff like that, and proved herself that she can go beyond the books. Like, she's actually working on another series of 11 books called Daring David, which is like, it goes from 4th to 5th grade, and it focuses on one of the classmates in Annabelle's class. But she'll also be part of it. But she's thinking of this like long term. Like, she says she's always thinking she's going to be the next Dora the Explorer. She always says that. And all on her posts.
But Charlie, do you have a question for Kyle?
No. Looking at your products here, how good does this make you feel that you accomplished this amazing work?
Well, I mean, to accomplish any book of literature and stuff in itself is a really grand task, but to do 11 within the span of a year and stuff, it's like, it was a lot of work, but it was well worth it and stuff, because just seeing the families and just seeing how much this has affected everyone in a positive way and stuff, from every encounter, from conventions to school visits, it's great to hear and stuff.
Did you ever do anything and you thought at the time you were doing it, this is great, and then you saw it and said, it's not that great? I don't think you did, because I'm looking at some great stuff here.
Well, nothing personally, but like as I started getting into illustrations and stuff like that, I did learn a lot of lessons in terms of like dealing with people and stuff like that, and dealing with the writer, that sometimes if I go back, I probably wouldn't have taken certain positions and certain jobs, but it comes with experience that you're going to run into certain aspects that like, oh, I'm doing this project, but at the end it wasn't worth the trouble and things for one thing or another.
So Cal, when you become famous, right, you gotta promise me something, okay? When you see the paintings, don't put in the frame that strips the paintings.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we have another question for the audience. What was your question?
Yeah, you said you have like 11 books of amazing
11 books.
11 books?
That's correct.
All right, and did you say you took like a year span to do them all?
To illustrate them, yes, it took about a year, but they were already like written, and that probably took her about 5 years to do all of them together.
Oh, okay. And how many pages each book?
Roughly about 96 pages. It's mostly a chapter book. I did about 12 images per page, sometimes 13.
Wait, 96 pages per book? Per book?
Yes.
Not per page. You didn't.
No,
per book.
Whoa.
You didn't do 12. You didn't do 12 images per page.
No,
per book.
Per book. Sorry. Per book.
Because the surprise on his eye. Like, wait.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
One more question now. Can you give us like a sample of, like, say, your top 5 favorite titles?
Can you give us a sample of 5 favorite titles of the books of the 11?
Like,
what's your favorite titles and or the books?
Yeah.
Actually, which ones should people get? Which ones should they get?
Your top 5.
Top 5.
Out of the 11.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know all of them by the top of your head?
Yeah. I would say the Apple Celebration. I always go with that one being not only the first book, but it's always like the main introduction into getting like into Annabelle. I would also say that the July one is very good. Pretty much summer camp, because not only some of the illustrations take you out of the school and put you with Annabelle as she's learning all these, making friends and learning how to do things on her own in summer camp versus in a school environment. It's a good change up. And then I would say probably the fall festival is a good one also, because it deals with her dealing with a problem of injuring her leg and realizing that she can rely more on her friends as like she goes through like her daily life and things. But I would also say the winter celebration is another good one, because we not only focus on one holiday, we focus on all of them, and Annabelle gets to interact with different people with different backgrounds. So like Hanukkah and stuff, she learns a lot about the back history about it and how they, how everything went with the holiday. And then we also have a Veterans Day one that's very good, because usually in November you think of Thanksgiving and stuff, but we decided to focus on Veterans Day and give that the main thing. I mean, Thanksgiving is also in there, but we wanted to give that the overall. So Annabelle goes to a retirement home and interviews a veteran as she gets to learn more about history and dealing with war and things like that.
What, a grandpa or something?
It's a grandma.
How upsetting is it that now there's an Annabelle horror series out there?
It's a funny story, because like whenever you type in Google, like I typed in Amazing Annabelle and it came up with that Annabelle the horror story right there. And it's like, oh my god, we're gonna have to change this somehow. Or I don't know if we can contact, what is it, Lionsgate or something?
Yeah, just say knock it off, it's ours.
Exactly.
So there is something that you had mentioned about doing 12 pieces of artwork per book. So you have to read the whole book, and how do you decide which artwork goes with the story? Like, do you read the whole story and then decide, okay, this scene will be a perfect thing to draw, or are you instructed to draw this particular scene?
Well, pretty much with each of the books, she'll send me over like a packet with each page and like gives me a little bit of a description of like, okay, Annabelle's in here with David and stuff, and she's playing a board game and stuff like that, and then it's my job to try and get that angle down. So like, because I did mostly like comic book stuff before I got into doing the children's book things, I tried to like do it from different angles and stuff like that, and different perspectives, but I realized with her and stuff, I had to make it more like overall the whole scene together and stuff. So like I have the two children standing there and interacting and things like that. But it wasn't too much of a change. But pretty much she'll send me something over and I'll use that as a jumping off point, and we'll go back and forth from there.
So is it because of your comic book background, do you find that something like this would be easier to tackle, or if you just were an artist, not a comic book artist, because it is two different things, comic book storytelling, do you think it would be easier or harder to do something like that?
Well, I find it a lot more easier because with the comic book background, because I have that storytelling structure versus just drawing flat images. Like if I'm doing a Batman image and I've just been doing that for like the last 30 years and stuff like that, it would have been a lot harder to like just do the different poses and things like that.
The non-Dick Grayson Batman, right?
Yes, the regular Batman. But yeah, I find it a lot more easier that I have this storytelling thing. So like whenever I'm going through it, it's like I can picture it right there and stuff. Like even before I put down pencil to paper, I'm already picturing like, okay, she's doing this, she's sitting in this chair, and she's interacting with her sister and doing this. But.
All right. I also wanted to mention, when you're at tables, you do other artwork, you do prints. Now, the sign of the times is that we just had New York Comic Con, well, when this airs, it'll be a while ago, but it was just this past weekend, and I talked to a lot of my art friends who find it more difficult to sell books than it is to sell prints. Is that something you also see that as a trend?
Well, pretty much it depends on how you're selling it. Like, when it comes to the Annabelle series, the good thing is that not only does she have the 11 books out, but she has an online website with resources connected directly to the books as extra material. So like, there's pretty much when a child goes on to the book and say she reads the first book and stuff and then wants to find out more about anti-bullying, because that's what the first one's also about, she can go into the website. There's a student corner with a JPEG that she can print out for free and stuff like that goes into details, and it says, and there's worksheets there that say like, oh, what type of characteristics best describe you as one of the worksheets. So like, there's all this extra material. When I'm explaining this to either the parent or someone that I'm talking to at the convention, they're very intrigued, and it's something beyond just an image that I can sell to them. It's something that could be very useful to their niece, nephew, etc. And I tell the writer this all the time, that it doesn't matter if I'm at Comic-Con or if I'm at a children's book fair and stuff. Everyone has like a niece, a daughter, a son, etc., some type of family member that might be interested in something educational for them.
Oh, and are the books available at your local library, such as the East Meadow Public Library, or can you get them online? Where can you get these books?
You can get them on the website. They're on Amazon. They're all over. AmazingAnnabelle.com.
AmazingAnnabelle.com.
Yes.
And what about your stuff?
This comic is coming out next month, and I'm pretty.
So by the time this airs, it should be. So it's this month.
Yes.
So where can
November.
you go?
November.
Right.
But yes, I'm going to start off by having them on my Instagram and selling them from there. But then I'm making my own way. Oh, Kyle Horn Art is my Instagram, and I'll be selling the books starting off there, and then I'll move on to Amazon and hopefully get them onto like Comixology and other sources.
So beyond the website, which was AmazingAnnabelle.com, is there any other place you can get the books? You said Amazon. Is it like in bookstores? Is it
It's mostly on Amazon. but we have been able to get into certain school districts all over the island and some in like Florida also and things. We're also trying to get into Barnes and Noble right now, but that's a
Right, it's in the work. It's in the works.
yes.
What other social media places can they find out more about the stuff?
Amazing Annabelle is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My own artwork and also stuff for the new comic book is on my Facebook, Kyle Horn Art, and Instagram and Twitter as well.
All right, so we have, what do we have in front of us? Why don't you do a little description for people listening on the radio? What do we have? We have the books, we have
Yes.
2 books, and we have the prints. Why don't you describe what the prints are?
Well, this first print is pretty much all the Overwatch characters done in Lego form.
It's a character collage.
Whoa! Very nice.
The next one is basically the
Want to pass?
Avengers Infinity War poster, but
Let's hear it.
Lego
Nice.
form.
Come on, come on.
This next one is a piece of artwork basically built around Thundercats and in Lego form.
Oh, Thundercats. My daughter's love that.
Yeah, you heard about the Thundercats reboot coming out soon.
So,
Right.
So Herman, you can't win any of these things because you're on the panel. So you can't win.
The next one is a print that I did. I actually got this signed by the actor that played Rocky. It's a Power Rangers movie poster that I did from the old school Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, we can win that?
You can win that. See, people who show up to the live show always win something.
Awesome.
And what's the last one?
The last one is a Rick and Morty collage of all characters.
Rick and Morty's the best.
Season 2.
Nice.
I haven't done season 3 yet.
For
I'm
someone
in the
nice
works.
to paint.
All right, so you're going to give what are you going to give? You're going to give all the prints to one person? Or are you going to do one to each person?
Yeah.
That's going to make things very different. Oh, we got a leg guy. Here, we got a leg guy. Leg guy, come on up here. Leg guy, come on up here. Get your,
Gotta get raffle.
get your raffle so you can see who might win something. Wouldn't it be something if he won because he came in late? And the books are going to go to one person, or how are we going to do that? So one person gets the books, and some other people get the prints. How are we going to do that? It's your giveaway.
I figured like everyone can go home with something.
Everyone can go home with something. Woo! Wow! All right.
Yeah.
So let's do this scientifically. So we got this. These.
We need a hat.
We do not need a hat.
Watch this,
You know what you should do, Mark? Just
What?
call the numbers and let,
Well, that's what I'm saying. The first one for the first prize, I'll start listing out the numbers. So.
I'll decide who gets.
So yeah, so Kyle, you say what's the first prize, and I will whip out some numbers. So what's the first prize?
It's like bingo.
I guess they can choose between the books or one of the prints.
So you're just gonna let them pick.
Yeah.
You know the prints
All
of
right,
bingo.
here we go. So first winner for first choice. First one. All right, hold on. Need some drum roll. Drum roll.
Number 1.
Number one. Who gets number one? Number one gets the first pick. What are you gonna pick there? He wants the books.
Right.
There you go.
Very good choice there.
That's the first one.
Yep.
What's the?
Yep.
Enjoy it, Stevie.
All right.
Right.
So congratulations again.
Very
For that.
nice.
So we're gonna go to the second one. Second one is the next second choice, right?
Yep.
All right. This is very difficult because I'm using both hands. Drum roll.
I really have no idea what one of this is.
Number 2. It's like a magic trick.
Number 3.
Number three. There you go. Second choice. There you want to go for. We're gonna go for the book. We're
Not
gonna
your
go for a
boys
print.
in the band.
We're gonna go for a print. We're gonna go for a book.
Oh my God, so
Just
much.
going
I
to
love
the
that.
sides. He's deciding.
So
He's going. And he got the Avengers.
That's
All right,
the
so
one
we
I would
have
have picked.
some more to go. All right, hold on. Drum roll.
I'll take photo on my roll.
I can do this all night. Why do you-
Number 6.
Number 6. Who's number 6? Number 6. There you go. Now number 6. You get a prize.
Woo!
He's gonna pick it.
Choose one.
You got one in. You got it. You sure? He's
Sure.
got it. All right, you got it.
Yeah,
So let's keep on moving. Next one.
What is that? What's that?
Drum roll.
Number 2.
Number 2. Number 2.
Everyone.
What do you get? You gotta pick one. Pick one quickly. Ready? There you go. Get the Power Rangers. Power Rangers.
Go, Power Rangers.
All right, so drum roll, next one.
Number 7.
Number 7. 7.
Seven.
That's you. Look at that guy. All right.
Well, that's my lucky number.
Yeah.
Newcomer.
So what do you get to pick from one book. You get the Thundercats and the Rick and Morty.
Choose one.
You get to pick one. Choose one.
Number 2 and number
Choose
7.
one. Oh, you got Rick and Morty.
They look like
We have 2 more prizes to go. 2 more prizes to go. So drum roll.
Oh yeah, Rick and Morty.
Number 5.
Number 5. Come on down. Number 5. Yay. So you get to choose between. Is that the second book? The Halloween, the second book, or the print? What do you want? The book or the print? She's going for the
Nice
book.
choice.
And the final person for the Thundercats. That was my drum roll. Give me a drum roll.
Thunder.
Last one would win is
Number 4.
number 4. Come on down, get your Thundercat print. See that? Everybody wins.
Right.
People want the prizes.
That came from the
Make sure you guys come down to the live show. You can win prizes also. So congratulations, everybody. So we have less than 10 minutes to go. So we're going to do some final thoughts. Herman, do you have a final thought for us? We have less than 10 minutes to go.
For everybody, like just about the young crowd, 30 years old, just like what I told you, live your life. Mark, you slept? This is very
I know you did. I know you did.
Live your life, don't worry about anything. All right? Take care of yourselves, keep yourselves healthy, and that's it. That's my final word.
Charlie.
Kyle, good luck to you, Kyle.
Do you have a final thought there, Charlie?
I have 2 final thoughts.
Yeah.
And one is, this guy is amazing. Go out on his social media, on his website, buy his stuff. Buy it. I'm telling you, good stuff.
Yeah.
Don't make me come over there. And thank you for being here. And number 2, I don't know if anybody knows this, but if it wasn't for my good buddy here, I would never be on It Came From
There you go, yeah!
Kyle, do you have a, actually, where are you going to be? Are you going to be at any conventions? Are you going to be at any places anytime soon?
I'm actually going to be at MCon.
Oh, the annual Halloween event, which is going to be on Friday, October 26th at 6 p.m. at the East Mills Public Library. That's perfect time right there.
Hope everyone can come out and support.
And mention your websites again, and then you give us a final thought.
Yes, my websites are Kyle Horn Art. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and pretty much I'm always doing commissions and things, and I'm always having these books, and I can't wait for what's next.
So my final thought is this. First of all, thank you, Kyle, for coming down here. We appreciate you
right.
in front of a live studio audience. It's always it's funny how you're like, oh, you have the stress, but then we put you in front of a live audience, but hope you did all right. So we appreciate you coming down here. It's really an inspiration, I gotta say, about what your book is doing, and then both books, actually. Very inspirational. I hope you guys continue much success. And I hope that Linda's all right.
I'm going to check on that.
Make sure she's all right. Get down here. She's all right. But thank you so much for coming down. We really appreciate it. Much success. Go check out his stuff. And that about does it for this week.
Does it
on
really,
Came
Mark?
From Radio.
Does it really?
It really does. Join us right here and every week on this radio station. If you miss any part of the show,
Tough.
go to our website, www.camefromradio.com. No, I'm not reading for a tough. I've done this. How long have I done this? I know this by memory. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, we have a YouTube page. Also, make sure you guys come down to the next live show, which we'll have more stuff to give away. This will be on the 14th of November at the East Mills Public Library. Special shout out to Kelly Gordon and the East Mills Public Library. Thank you so much for having us, and continue having us, and we will see you next week.
Yeah!